Good evening, welcome to the nighttime heat on this beautiful, beautiful Wednesday. This program is being aired right here on Prom FM 105.5 and also relayed on Radio Quatique, that is in Bon County, Radio Gegeban in Nimba County, and Radio Bologisi in Lofa County. We are also streaming live on our Facebook page. That is the Nighttime Heat Facebook page. Just go on your phone or your laptop where they have the search, and you just tap Nighttime Heat. As soon as you do that, you're going to watch the show and share the show. We want you to share the show so that your friends, your relatives, your loved ones, your partners can all be in the loop of what is happening tonight. In addition, you can also watch the show live on your YouTube channel. Just go on your YouTube where they have the search, either using your phone or the laptop, and you tap Nighttime Heat, just 3 words. After you've done that, you're going to watch the show, and then you also you wait until you can get the you can hit the notification bell, and then anytime this show comes on, you're going to watch the show live. Well, tonight promises to be an interesting night. The discussion will be very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. We want you to, get close to your radio set or your phone, your laptop, and share the show. Again, we are also streaming live on Prom FM, Moravia 105.5. Again, Prom FM, Moravia 105.5. Very shortly, my 2 panelists, Moses Sandy and George Kennedy, will be joining me. But tonight, we'll be looking at very, very important topic. The Inspector General, he held his press conference. In fact, on the day that the LMP charged former House Speaker for Nanti Kofa and others, he held a press conference and said something. And then a few days after Fernanti and his colleagues were released from prison, Fernanti also hint onto what the police IG said when he said, well, the case is politically, sensitive, So we want to ask tonight, is this case politically motivated or not? If at all it is, what are the indicators? We'll be talking about that. But first, at 8 o'clock, I'm sure it's 8 o'clock already, but between now and 8:30, we'll be doing small analysis with our panelists. And of course, we'll be looking at the whole drama that is taking place between the Nancy Doe's family and that of the former President George Manawia. That drama today took another dramatic twist. We heard about some elders, distancing themselves from Doe. That is after, in fact, she launched an attack against Zoe Penner of being responsible for the death of his mother. So we'll be looking into that. All of those discussions will come right here into the fore. So don't go away. Be there. Sabo George is my name. Along with one of my producers, we'll be right back after the same.
Let's start.
And of course, we are starting now. Let us start. One of my panelists, George Kennedy, has just walked in. And so let me welcome George as soon as possible. George, good morning and welcome. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Sabo. Thank you. I'm sorry to the public. I'm late just for a few minutes, but I fought hard because of the weather. The rain is so tough. I had to fight a bit in time.
Yes, we really appreciate your being here, George. Yeah. We know it's the season the rainy season, so we can do anything about that. We'll always have to string along with whatever season that's on hand. But it's good that you are here. We are expecting Moses Sandy to join us again. I'm sure you saw the flyer, George. We'll be looking at what are the case ongoing. It's politically motivated. We'll be hearing from the IG when he held his press conference. He made reference to something political, and Fornati Kufa and his colleagues been hanking on that, and Fornati also emphasized or re-echoed that this is the situation. So we'll be asking: is the case not legal anymore? Are we not looking at legality? Are we looking at politics? So we'll be looking at that tonight at 8:30. Our guests will include Ambula Mame. Mame will be right here on the show at 8:30. Jacob Jala. Jacob also will be on the show at 8:30. And of course, we'll also be looking at it from the religious perspective. And so we'll have the chief scribe of the Liberal Council of Churches, Reverend Dr. Chris Toh. You will also be on the program. I understand Reverend Toh should be on his way by now to be on the program. But how everything with you today?
Yeah, everything is okay. And I'm happy, nature in Labrador, we have 2 seasons. And the dry season is fading away and the rainy season is here. So, now we don't have to put too much air conditioners on.
Not at all.
So, it's okay. In health, I'm okay.
Okay.
And I want to say thank you again for the show. And we are here to put our little 1 cent, 2 cents to make sure that it makes sense. And that's why we are here.
Okay. So time is fast spent. We know Moses will shortly join us. But before you came, I was talking about the case involving, or the issue involving the former Liberian president George Weah and the Nancy Doss family. That whole saga now is taking another dramatic twist. We just heard Moses is on. Let me try to welcome Moses quickly. Moses, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's good to be back. How are you, my man? My man, today is my anniversary of 20 years of marriage.
Oh, wow. Congratulations, Moses.
Congratulations, Moses.
20 years in marriage, oh man.
Yeah, 20 years, my man. Yeah, my brother. How you doing, man? It's good to.
Has it all been roasted, or there's been some issues along the way?
Well, look, I always tell people, and I can just share my experience briefly. And married man, many of all will form ourselves as part of this institution, but there has got to be trust.
Okay.
You got to trust the partner. You got what she is, and you have to be willing to listen. You have to be willing to sit and process. And, other than that, you will always keep changing relationship.
Surely.
And
surely.
Fortunate, I
have to be patient as well.
Yeah, we have to be very, very patient. You got to be committed, and honest in everything that you do. Other than that, my brother, people will come and go. Yeah.
Okay, Moses, again, congratulations. Wish you many, many more years in marriage. You can even go 100 years from now. I know it's possible, man. We've got all things are possible.
Yeah, we pray for that, and we pray, right, Kennedy? We pray for that.
Yeah, it's the same here. We got 8 years, still pushing. So we're learning from you. We follow you guys.
Oh, you got 8 years.
Yeah.
I think I've got more than you. Okay. Okay, so let's start the ball rolling. Time is not in our interest. Moses, before we came on, this whole issue with the between the Nancy Doss and George Weah, it's taking more deepening dimension. We heard again last night, Nancy Doss came on a local radio station and made lots of startling revelations. She spoke about the experience that her mother went through. But then later on, took a swap at Senator Zoe Pennon. But then before the end of the day, we saw in online, a press statement where some elders and citizens that distance themselves from what NASID is doing. Let me get you guys' take. Do you see this thing taking a more internal problem than an external one? Let's hear from you, George.
Thank you. I think the first thing is I know it's going external now because when you talk about the Doe family, that's Doe, his wife, and his children. Okay, when you talk about those fathers own the family, that Doe's father, Doe himself, and the other sisters, right? So right here, we're looking at SK Doe Jr., we're looking at Mommy Doe, those children that immediately living. The other people are extended family. Now it's extending to the extended family until the extended family is issuing statements. So I don't know what that legally holds. I'm not a lawyer, but I think it further deepens the crisis. If I were near Mami, I wouldn't have advised her. I wouldn't have advised her to appear, or even if she had appeared on the local station, I wouldn't advise her to make such start doing revelations last night. I thought it helped to escalate the already existing internal conflict. That alone brings some dents on the credibility of the Doe's family. What is happening here is that even certain individuals that the late Doe, the former president, allegedly did business with, their names are coming out now. And I don't know whether those things are really true. I don't also want to believe that they are lie. I don't want to, because I want to put myself right in a place where I can defend myself tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I don't think those things are necessary for public consumption. Some of the things are coming out right now. I don't think they are necessary.
Surely. Yeah. Moses, with what you're hearing, Moses, I'm sure many of us listened to her yesterday on the local station where she indicated, although she couldn't say the cause of death, of a mother, she couldn't say. But then later on, she, blamed it on Senator Zoe Pennon. Do you think what she's trying to do is trying to deepen the division internally in our family? Then in fact, trying to blame President Weah again for not giving the family or giving her mother the sort of attention. Do you see that happening? What's happening, Moses?
Look, so about like you and Kennedy, I'm one of the individuals who hold a view that not necessary.
Okay,
Moses, yeah, do you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Okay,
yes, go ahead.
So I was thinking that what Mommy is doing is not necessary. She has created more division. There has become an unnecessary distraction for the funeral of her late mother. She has driven the complete wedge amongst people in the Grand Jude community. I mean, think for example, how can Mommy? Let's agree that hey, Zoe Pennon say, look, you know what, this thing here, it has to do with my integrity. It has to do with my image. I am going to court. I'm going to file a lawsuit. How can Mommy convince the people of Liberia that it is Zoe Pennon who killed her mother? How can Mommy convince the people of Liberia that Zoe Pennon is a murderer? She accused this guy of killing the NDC commissioner in Grand Jude County. How can she prove? She made a lot of her unfounded claims. She's making all these allegations. Mommy told the world, and this is where she contradicted herself. So, but this lady told the world that her mom had what she called unexplained medical conditions. Her mom's situation, she also attributed that to what she considered to be spiritual. Now, the same Mommy come and say, well, it is the work of Zoe Pennon. How do you reconcile that? You say you can't tell the people the cause of death. Yes, you have the right. It's a family information. It's private information. You may have chosen to say, hey, I don't want to speak to that. But if you say you can't tell the people the cause, then how did you evolve? You know, because first thing she can't, she said she received a death certificate. If you receive a death certificate as an educated person, someone who has a degree in law, master's degree in law, some of you will receive a death certificate and you will not read it, and I ask you a question, what is the cause of death? And you tell the people you have not read it. Your mother passed on the 21st of May, and she's making all these unfounded claims.
I agree with you, Moses. I agree with you. And in fact, what is also happening is that we're about to play a video. The elders, the citizens, I mean, the senior citizens, family members, I'm sure some of them, they are aunts and uncles, they are quite not pleased. At the end of the day, they've begun expressing their frustration and that they didn't expect that Mommy will be doing what she's doing. Let's play the video and listen to one of the aunts, in fact, expressing all her frustration. Let's play the video quickly.
Okay.
You heard the lady saying that Kennedy, that your one will bury your mind. It speaks of the gravity of the situation now.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I think the family, the extended family there, they are frustrated. I don't think this thing should have gone this far. I feel that it should have been handled behind the scene, and all other wrongs that may have been, or people or individuals or family members who might have been suspected of anything, this should have been handled behind the scene. I feel that if her mother told her anything, especially when she explained about that traditional aspect, where she said her mother went to go visit Zod, and Zod something happened and she couldn't walk, she was not okay, and someone told her, a religious person told her, go back to Zod and beg him, and he went to she went to Zod, begged Zod, Zod said, okay, I will free you. I mean, it's difficult. Even when I was in the media, it's going to be difficult for me to raise it up a story, because this is something that I talk about, someone who is dead making allegations that cannot be proven. Even Zod himself, even anybody eyes Zod, what happens or not, he's going to deny it.
Yeah.
But I believe in my own mind that I don't think these things went on. If I ordered went, why didn't they alarm? Why didn't she alarm at the time?
Yeah.
This is what my uncle did to my mother, and since then she's not well.
Until she waited
on the whole lady pass. So right there becomes, I think, no need for this in the family.
Moses, you heard the frustration of that old lady. I'm sure that woman should be out of her aunt or some family, some relative, saying that she alone will bury her mind. Moses, what do you think out of what's happening? How do you say it's going to affect the unity of the family?
It is going to have a negative impact on the funeral, because people who believe in Zod Penum, people who disagree with Veronica or Mamido, and those people may not attend the funeral. Now the Grand Judah community is divided, and I know Grand Judans, they hold together. They are very, very supportive of one another. Even in the United States here, one of the community groups that you don't play with here in the United States is the Grand Judah community. They are very, very, supportive of one another. Now this lady has divided the Grand Judah Association in the United States. She has divided Grand Judans in Liberia. She has divided public officials in the country. I mean, can you imagine? And let me just say this quickly. Mr. Weah just did not wake up to go over there. So what? Mr. Weah had behind the scene discussion with Mr. Yenabo, the former Senate Pro Tem. And the very mommy said she was very elated that Mr. Weah was going there. She was very happy. This guy was asking them for vouchers. Mr. Weah wanted to play a critical role in the funeral. And she said everything was going well. And she said she felt angry because her mom said Mr. Weah met with her once. And then guess what? Mr. Weah went and told the people 3 times. Let's agree. Even if Mr. Weah said he met with this lady 3 times, and you say it is only 1 time, is that enough for you to come and publicly humiliate this man like that? You say, hey,
now, Moses, let me come in. Do you think, George, do you think what Mami is doing, especially bringing out all of those issues that happened in the past, and we started with the rejection of the gifts from the former president. Do you think she's doing it on her own accord, or she's being pushed by someone?
Well, she's denying that there is no political undertone. But that's her side. The other people on the other side of the eye, they will say it's political. I mean, it is difficult to rule out anything, But what I'm seeing here, what I'm observing here is she and her siblings, they're on the same side. Okay? She and her siblings, they're on the same side. That some of us have found out this and that. The other issue, why the brother is not here, this and that, some of us try to find out. We say investigating to find out why really. And I think something, it's not family issue. I think something probably it could be health related or whatsoever why he's not here. But what she's doing, I think she's blowing off all the opportunities to unite the county. That's my point. In fact, politically, I was saying she could be a very good senator. I'll tell you some people here because she's vocal, she seems strong, and when she takes her side, she takes it. And that's a behavior of a serious politician. When she take that side, when they take it, they stand. Yeah. But she'll be blowing off all those opportunities. I know what she's thinking about the future because the family has a name in the county. Mind you, let me say historically, there have been division in Grand Yedder before. They have not been united as people think. When Mr. Doe was president, there was a problem between the Konobo people and those who are from Tuzum. Okay. They said that he was developing Tuzum side and forgetting about the other side. And nobody from Grand Yedder, and every person will tell you, so yes, it's true. That was a little internal problem. So at the end of the day, is she going to escalate this action, or is she going to use it to unite the people to give the Doe family the kind of standing that they need in the country? That's the challenge that she's faced with. And I would advise her, slow down. Okay. Yeah, that's what I would say. Slow down. Yeah. Okay,
so you're listening to the Nighttime Heat. You can share the show. Please share the show tonight. Just go on your phone where they have the search, and you just type by Nighttime Heat. Just 3 words. You're going to watch the show live on your Facebook page, and also you're going to share the show as well. We want you to share the show so that your friends, your relatives, your loved ones, your partners can also be in the loop of what is happening tonight. Besides, you can go on your YouTube channel. Just go on your phone or your laptop and go to where they have YouTube. You go to where they have the search and you tap Nighttime Heat. As soon as you do that, you subscribe and you also hit the notification bell. Anytime you do that and the show comes on, you will watch the show live. Want to share the show? We are streaming live also on Prime FM Monrovia 105.5. Prime FM Monrovia 105.5. Let's try to open the lines briefly for a few calls concerning what we've been talking about, because at 8:30 our guests will be joining us, and tonight we'll be trying to figure out is this ongoing arson case politically motivated, or should we look at it from the legal aspect? First, we'll be hearing from the police IG, who says something about politics, and then also we'll be hearing from Fernando Kofa. You can call in on 0778. That's 0778 460 just for a few minutes. 0778 460 so that we can get your take on what we've been talking about relative to Mami Doe and her family, and also externally, former President George Weah. Want to get your take on that. What do you think? Basically, what Mommy is doing, is it will it help the family to grow more and more, or will it divide her family, especially bringing in the allegation against Zoe Penner? 0778-460-793. Again, 0778-460-793. That's the number to call, and you are live. Again, 0778-460-793. We want to hear from you before our guests can come in. We don't want to hear from you. What do you think about the issue or the allegations being made about Mommy Doe? Let's take the first caller. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Sobo.
Yes, sir. Let's hear from you. Your name?
Yeah, I'm James Park calling from Congo.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, Sobo. To be frank, you really need your racket senator to tell you that what Mommy is doing is political. You know what I mean? Because we saw in the news that Jeremiah Cohen, he went there. He said he told her to take all the offers that President Weah gave to them, that she should return it. That's what she did. You know what I mean? She returned all these things. You see, but summer. You see that when you look at it critically, you deduce that the country is going nowhere. Because first of all, the president is vindictive, repressive, and then he running a kleptocratic government.
Okay. You made your points already. Let's take another call on the line quickly. 0778-460-793. Again, 0778-460-793. That's the number to call. And to alive, we want to hear from you what you're sick about what's happening in the Grand Juda community with Mommy Doe making lots of startling and strong allegations where she even brought in Senator Zoe Penner's name. Good evening.
Hello.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, Sobo.
Yes, sir.
Okay, my name is Rahim Kamal, call from Carroll Junction.
Let's hear from you. Right.
Yeah, okay. I think what Mommy is doing, I want to say it is not political. Mommy is just frustrated over the late delivery of the former president. This is a president that came to prominence through the help of a former president, Doe. This old man was here when he was president. He never went to the Oma to give such donation. He waited until the Oma passed before he could give elaborate speech and how the president will be fair. A whole crew will go there, and since he will not be there, I think it's belated. At the time the woman was alive, Nessie Doe needed him the most, and I think that was the time he should have come in with all of the assistance that you think he can give now. Why wait until the woman passed before he go get 2 cows, 5,000, 50 bag of rice, and all the things related? So Mommy is just frustrated over from the former president.
Okay, let's take this other caller. You made a point already. Good evening. We just want to take 6 calls and then wrap it up. Good evening.
Sir?
Yes, sir.
How are you? I think the thing between the two family, during the election, I think 2011 election, when Zoe Penner running for senatorial position in Kwangile, and I see that Samuel Doe Jr. running for senatorial position. That's where the problem started. And some people said Doe make a statement that nobody should mind Samuel Doe Jr. because he doesn't even know where his father was buried. So all the statements Zoe Penner made against the Doe children. So I think that's where the issue comes from. And then talking about late father poverty, and so I'm not returning. These are some of the things people need to look at critically. Whether it's true, Doe sister, who is Zoe Penner mother, still had the document for Samuel Doe, the late Samuel Doe, that contain the property of the family. So
Okay.
these are people should look at. Also.
Okay, many thanks, many thanks. We'll take one more calls quickly and we'll wrap it up. 0778-460-793. Again, 0778-460-793. What do you think about what's happening between Nancy Doe and the former President George Weah, and that in fact also leading into the allegation against Zopeno. Good evening.
Sabo,
Yes, sir.
Sabo, good evening.
Yes, sir.
Let me say good thing to the Liberian people following.
Mhm.
My name is Theophilus T. Tobias, and I'm in Woodville. Sabo, look, I'm downhearted of what is currently happening. You know, Mother Doe, the wife of the lead president, need a befitting burial. She need to be laid to rest. She need to be laid to rest. Out of what is currently happening now, I'm not in support of any of it, whether it is political or it is not political. Such a thing should not be happening at this moment.
Okay.
Let lay our mother to rest.
Yeah.
Or let me end like this. So you know, we are all we Liberians. I don't know whether it's only Liberian, but because I'm a Liberian and I've seen it, so I'm saying I'm using Liberia as a case study. We Liberians, so we in the habit when people are dying, when people are sick, when they having nothing, we don't go to their aid.
Okay.
But
Let's take this last caller. You made your point already. Let's take this last caller. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. Let's hear from you quickly. You are the last caller.
Thank you very much. My name is Bambunde Kamara, and I call from Clarendon.
Okay.
I listened to your conversation, and I must say this: too far wrong, right?
Mhm.
The Bereaved family is to some extent trying to politicize the bereavement period of their fallen mother, especially Mami Doe, the way she's feeling. I think her action is not too good because she's now bereaved and mourning her mother. So if there is anything, she should have accepted that and after the entire mourning process and all that thing, and come out and give her dissatisfaction to the man, especially she get access to the man.
Okay. Thank you. You made your point already. Thanks to all of you who are calling. Later on, we'll open the lines. But it's about time that we'll go into our discussions quickly. I'm sure. Let's see who's at the back stage. Jacob Jala is there. I'm sure Ambula should be coming on any moment. For now, we have Reverend Dr. Chris Toll in studio. So Moses and George, you can welcome our guests quickly. Yeah.
Okay. I have been asked to introduce someone who is my boss, and at the level of Elementary University, Dr. Toll served as student affairs president when I was student leader in the university, and later we both worked together at the level of the Alumni Association of Elementary University. And before he could go to the Liberia Council of Churches, where he has served for a very long time. And so, Reverend Toll, I want to congratulate you and welcome you to the studio.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay. Moses?
Yeah, Reverend Todd, I want to say on behalf of the management of Night and Heat, I want to welcome you to this very important discussion tonight. And I know we also have another guest. Jacob is also here. So, Jacob, I also want to use this opportunity to say welcome to the Nighttime Heat. And tonight we are here to have a very interesting discussion on Liberia. And we hope that you will be able to contribute to the discussion very meaningfully. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, many thanks. Ambula Mami has just joined us as well. Ambula, welcome to the program. Let me just welcome you. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Sabo. Good to be here. I think Moses, Sandy, and my brother JJ. What's up, Jacob?
Yes, I'm doing good. I'm glad.
Thank you, Mami. Thanks for coming. It's a pleasure to have you.
Okay, so gentlemen, let's kick the ball rolling. First, I want us to play a video. The video of the police RG, and then later on we'll play the video of Fernanti Kofa. During the press conference of the police RG, he says something about politics. And then that statement after Kofa, Fernanti Kofa and his colleagues came from prison, again, Kofa hanged on that statement and said, I didn't hear from the Inspector General himself. So let's try to play the tape, because the question tonight is it that the ongoing arson case, is it politically motivated, as being claimed by a defendant or not? If at all it is, what are the indicators? So let's play this video quickly. We all take a listen.
My team, we've been fighting back and forth to keep me on script. So I will endeavor to agree with the team and remain scripted throughout this presentation. But it won't be our regular briefing, because this will be a little more detailed than we would normally do in ordinary investigation, because this is a high profile case. It has a lot of sensitivity attached to it. It has a lot of political nature surrounding it. There's a lot of dis and misinformation that has already prejudiced it to an extent out there. So it's only in the best interest of the investigation and the general public that we share a little more information than we would normally do in these kind of occasions.
Okay.
So
Okay. I think so far, let's just end the RG there, and we all listen to the RG. The RG indicated that the case is a high-profile case. He didn't stop there. He said it had some sensitive attachment to it. Then he indicated that it has some political nature as well. Let's try to listen to Fernanti Kofa as well. We're trying to upload Fernanti Kofa quickly. Let's try to listen to him. You're listening to the Nighttime Heat? Okay.
The press conference of Gregory Coleman, the IG, he did say that this is a highly political case, did he not? So you don't take the partisan's word for it, you take the IG's word for it. He decided to bring this case based on a basket of evidence of innuendos, lies, and misstatements. And in the next few weeks, as we go through the preliminary hearing, we will deconstruct those lies and be able to put together a defense that is worthy of what we've done. It's a place for human beings. Unfortunately, that's the best the state can offer for Liberian citizens. It's unfortunate, but they are no better than me.
Okay, they are no better than me. So, gentlemen, you listen to Fernanti Kofa as well, a former House Speaker. We earlier listened to the police RG. Let me begin with you, Mamwe. What's your interpretation? Again, let me go over what the police RG said. The case is highly, it's a high-profile case. He indicated. Also, it has sensitive attachment rate and has some political nature. You also listen to Fernanti Kofa. He said, didn't you hear from the IG? The case is politically motivated. What do you think? What's your reading and your understanding? Mamwe, let's begin with you.
I think the lawyer just trying to play around voice. The police IG is right that the case has political nature. The case is a high-profile case because it has high-profile individuals. Those high-profile individuals have supporters. Their supporters come from a political party. The political party align with their views. They make statements about, if you arrest Fernanti today, you arrest 10,000 of us. Those are all political statements. What is important is how is the case being prosecuted? How is the case being prosecuted? The case is not being prosecuted politically. The case is being prosecuted legally. And that is the crux of the issue. Whether the case has high-profile individual, low-profile individual, whether it has sensitivities, whether it has political elements around it, what we are concerned about is how is the case being prosecuted? The case is being prosecuted legally. And in the legal prosecution of the case, evidence are adduced against the defendant. The defendant has the time, like in the words of Councillor Foka, deconstruct those evidence and the judge will rule. So that is the crux of the issue. Whether it is high profile, whether it get political element, and those are true. It is high profile. That's the speaker. It has political element. He comes from a political party. The political elements are dropping all around. If you arrest Funati tomorrow, you arrest 10,000 citizens. We will mass across the country. Those are all political elements. And that is why the IG is saying we need to be careful on what we say so it don't prejudice the case. But yes, the case has political element. The case is a high-profile case, but the case is being prosecuted legally, where the evidence...
In other words, you are saying that the case is not politically motivated.
No, it's not. The case is not politically motivated. It's legally motivated. It's legally motivated. Crimes were allegedly committed, and those crimes are being investigated. So it was legally motivated by alleged crimes that were committed. It's being legally prosecuted. Evidence will be adduced in court. Funati will have the time to deconstruct those evidence. The judge will make a decision, and Liberia will move forward and know whether he's guilty or not.
Okay, let's hear from Jacob. Jacob, what do you think? You listen to the IG and you listen to former House Speaker for Nanti Kofa as well.
Yes, thank you. Thank you again for the opportunity to share my thoughts, my perspective on a hot button issue of this nature that hasn't been making the news for a long time. Well, so strictly on the issue, I would say here clearly that I have precisely no reason yet to arrive at the conclusion that this particular case is going to be dominated or influenced politically. And I must also make the second point to say that this particular situation, we're in a new era in democratic governance in Liberia. We're in an era of transparency. We're in an era of openness. We're in an era of the internet, where information spread everywhere like wildfire. Even if people want to become non-transparent, it is way more difficult to become opaque and not transparent today than at any point in time in the history of human existence. So this is a case that have a great deal of interest across all different stakeholder groups, and people are going to follow it. We discuss here the rule of law in the democratic process. So the case is going to be looked into and adjudicated in open court, and evidence is going to be adduced, and we all have an opportunity to go there and see the validity of the evidence, to see the quality of the evidence as displayed, and the prosecution will have an opportunity to substantiate the evidence, to adduce the evidence. The defendant also have an opportunity to cross-examine the evidence. So the judge is going to be there, and then we arrive at a conclusion on the matter. So I think I always say I believe I'm a responsible citizen, and I also want to form conclusion based on evidence. I want the evidence to direct my comment and to direct what comment I make on this matter. So in terms of this being politically motivated, now we can discuss some of the political implications that this case had. The IG said that. And of course, the former speaker also made reference to the political nature or the political aspect of the case. We can discuss that, but I think it is possible at this point to draw a dividing line between the political side of the matter and the legalistic aspect of the matter. I think a potential, I don't want to say a crime because we don't know yet, but a potential crime was committed. A public facility was damaged. The police at this point say it was arson.
we will get to the crux of the matter and what the clear evidence is in terms of what actually happened. So we can separate the two. We can discuss the political side of the issue, but we can also talk about the legal side. We can draw the dividing line between the two. Possibly as we go into the discussion, that may come up, but that is my opening comment for now.
Okay, so I'm sure we'll hear from our two panelists to ask you guys questions. Let me now go to the Chief Scribe, that's the Secretary General of the Council of Churches, Reverend Dr. Chris Toh. Reverend Toh, you listen to the IG, you listen also to COFA. Your institution is a moral voice. What do you stand?
Thank you very much, Sobo. I think Liberia has come to a place where we are trying to follow track the whole process of democracy, looking at the whole space in terms of the rule of law.
Okay.
And I think this is something that we must move forward with it as a country. And listening to the IG, emphatically, the parties involved are all high-profile persons. That's a fact.
Okay.
You have the former Speaker of the House, and you have legislators who were elected by the people, representing people in the various districts. So they come with a group of people that support them. Mm-hmm. They also come from political parties. So one way or the other, they have political alliances and they have supporters. And when their characters are being questioned, that's an issue. People have to defend the character. Mm-hmm. And looking at the whole issue of the legal process, that is where we come in to make sure that justice and the rule of law must be able to take its course, no matter of who comes in between the line. Liberia must come to a place where even if you are former president or you are president and you go against the law must be able to take its course in terms of dealing with process. And the former speaker, Jeff Onante Kofa, even when they had the legislative fracas, and we had a meeting with him at the Old Providence Baptist Church, he indicated to us, and that way we also reference to holding him to high esteem as a person who stands for the rule of law. Mm. And he indicated to us that if he was going to pursue this matter legally, and he was going to wait on the rule of law to take its course. And we saw the end of the whole process. And I think where we found himself, he's also willing to go through this process. Whether he had been accused or not, he's willing to go through the process to be investigated. And as he stated, he showed that he's not involved. And so when they are, our own plea for this process, that this process should be free, fair, and transparent. We want to see justice carried out in a free, fair, and transparent manner.
So what do you think for Nanti Kofa took his assertion from, or his perception that the case is politically motivated? Is it because the IG said it over?
He may have his own perception in terms of what makes it politically motivated. But I would say that because they come from the same political space in terms of governance, that's the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. And the three branches of government also have political actors from different political parties. So I think maybe he taking that from the end that you have a ruling party, you have opposition parties, and everyone is in the same government. And so people may have the issue of perception that this is an issue about one party in the lead, in position, and another party in the opposition. There could be a perception issue.
Okay. Now, before I go to my two panelists, Mambo, let me ask, what do you think it would have caused the police RG if you had not indicated that the case it has a political nature. What do you think would have caused him so as not to allow those who are defending themselves to think that the case was brought on them for political reasons? What do you think it would have cost the IG to have just not included the issue of politics, rather to say, well, this entire case is being brought as a result of crimes allegedly committed? Mamri.
I guess Mami.
He seems to be off. Okay. Yeah, let me ask you, Jacob, what do you think it would have cost the IG if you are not indicated the issue of politics?
Yes, I think you see, we're in very, very precarious times, very tricky times, and the way we communicate, especially for example from the perspective of the Inspector General on this matter, we have to be very careful the way people communicate at this particular moment. I mean, all sides of this debacle, I mean, how we communicate, we have to communicate with the utmost clarity. And really, from the perspective of the investigator, I mean, I am not, but the Inspector General, I think that is his training and that is his education. The choice of word has to be very, 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 very careful at this point in time, not to send the wrong message across. However, I think if you look at the progression of the case, I don't think the case is a case that the police has to deal with anymore. This case has moved on now to the court. So now it's before the judiciary, before the legitimate setting of a court. So I don't think the police matter anymore. It's moved to court. It's gone to prosecution now. So I'm sure this analysis is a little bit more retrospective to say what the police could have said or what the police couldn't have said. So I think it's important that the way we communicate in these times, especially from the perspective of the police, because the investigation probably potentially started there, and the use of language has to be very careful. So I mean, I think this is basically for me lessons learned. But now that this matter have now gone to court, and then it's before the sitting of of the judiciary of the court, now the matter have now swung hand towards the court, as I said earlier. So yes, I will land on this point. We have to be very careful how we use language in these times, because of course this is a case that is connected and linked to politics. So politicians, will use a particular word when it's not communicated very, very clearly and give it all sorts of interpretation along the way. So communicating very, 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 very clearly in these matters is very important.
Okay, Moses, let's hear from you.
Well, what I would like to say here is that the director of police, May, spoke, and he inadvertently threw the police because when he says the case is politically motivated, he says the case is a high-profile case. Yes, we agree. The individuals involved are prominent people in our country. They represent, constituents. And this case has the potential, either putting people in the street or not to put people in the street. So when you say these are high-profile people, there's a high-profile case, he's absolutely right on that. But when he said this is politically motivated, then that just comes to the point that people have always said that this is indeed a witch hunt driven by the executive. Because if you listen to some of the pronouncements that emanated in the wake of this case, you can connect the political dots right there. When the president went there on December 18, when he went to the Capitol, he impulsively, declared that, hey, there was the act of hooligans. When he said this place is not a place for hooligans. And the very director of police, initiated a probe in less than 24 hours. He labeled the fire incident at the Capitol as an arson. And guess what? He gets up, comes to the United States, recruit his friends, the friends of the president. So you see the political connections right there. So he literally threw the police under the bus. And that is where Kofa is coming from. And he said this is a high political case. His argument is that I am not being prosecuted. We are not being prosecuted because we committed a crime, but we are being prosecuted because people want to see us prosecuted because we oppose it. That would be my thought.
Mambo, are you there? Ambura?
Mame is not yet. He's not.
Okay. Let's hear from the judge.
First thing I would like to inform Mr. Sandy that the RG did not use the word "this case is politically motivated."
Okay.
To him, this case does not have the elements of the politically motivated cases. There is no high-profile politicians running for public office that is being indicted close to election. That is a clear example of a politically motivated case. This case, former Speaker Kofa today was speaking to his constituents. He was telling them, look, you there, I've been prosecuted, but don't have evidence against me. He's trying to politicize the process. That's what I'm saying. And you heard from his party, they said they were going to get on the street, they will do this, they use all the demonstrative pronouns, and they did, but they could not get a number to influence anything on the street. So what they tried to do is to push them further, to try to influence court decision. There is a fear in Liberia. Some people observe that when there is a public outcry on a particular case in a particular person's interest, there's a possibility that the judiciary may come weak out of fear to take some action. Let me bring you a typical example from the election ruling, the late Councillor Brodsky in the Liberty Party and at the Supreme Court. In that ruling, the Supreme Court, because of the political tension, some threatening to bring war, this and that, Supreme Court used the word clear in that ruling. That was fraud in the election. Used the word fraud, but he said it never had the type of magnitude to overturn the election. Any election that is fraudulent, while that 0.01% that election is not for under the law. But they did because of the public outcry. That's what Councillor Fonati Kofa is doing right here to the public. The public needs to be very careful, not to be carried away.
You think he's raising false alarm?
Yeah, that's
okay.
it.
Now let me ask Mambe. Mambe, we listen to the RG and you listen to him also. I'll try to ask you: do you think it would have been appropriate if the RG had not said the case has political attachment? Because it seems it is what now for Nantes is hanking on to say the case is politically motivated.
Well, I hearing myself. It's a feedback. Is it okay?
Yes, it's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he can use any words he want to use. There's no argument that the case is a high-profile case. You just call it what it is. There's no argument that the case has political element to it. I mean, you call it what it is. Political leader is being persecuted. People are threatening to protest. Party is being mobilized. Support group. I mean, those are political elements. There's no other different way to call it. What is important is how is it being persecuted? Is it being persecuted legally? Is it being resolved legally? Or is it being resolved politically? Now, there are legal cases that are settled politically. There are legal cases that are adjudicated and settled politically. In this case is being settled legally. I can give you an example. You remember, I think, the 2005 election with Michael Jones. He's supposed to have been placed on the ballot. He went to court. He won the case. The legal issue was addressed. Legally, they're supposed to enforce the court ruling, but they settle it politically and say, Marco, step aside. We don't have the time to put you on the ballot paper. It's too late. We'll beg you. And again, what they're supposed to gain, that case was settled politically. In the
Yes.
Kofa instance,
Yeah.
this case is not being settled politically. It's being adjudicated legally. It will be
course.
settled legally. Even though there is high profile, even though there are elements of politics with political party, but what we're concerned about is his rights. Innocent until proven guilty.
Guilty.
And the court will determine that based on evidence produced against him and based on his defense counsel. But mind you, 30 seconds, this case, as we heard, is a jury case. So Fonati will want to make the statement to play on potential juror who listening or people to say this is a political case. Maybe that will influence one or two of the person who making the decision to vote against his guilty verdict or vote for. So you hear all these things coming on, but we just encourage the public, pay attention to the law, listen to the evidence in the case, and let the law be the law.
Let's listen to Fonati Kofa today when he appeared in court, and after the court proceedings, he held a press an interview with the media. Let's hear what he said.
It's probably not legal.
What is the
There are
common
a number of things that happen today. First, the prosecution tried to avoid the fact that the police was in charge of the delay at all times relevant to this conspiracy and this action. So you will be unable to avoid a trial of this matter, bringing the police in as co-conspirators, if indeed arson occurred. The second surprising thing is the state witness testified, right, that the evidence, the plastic cups and the stuff they used to transport the gasoline, they wasted the gasoline on in the building, they lighted, then they took the cups, they ran outside, and they threw them in the yard. So they say they found the evidence outside of the vicinity. That doesn't make sense, right? Finally, it's a hodgepodge of recording unrelated. Okay, there is no direct evidence of relationship to the fire. Abu Kamara, Jacob Gebi are colleagues of mine, and we will talk almost every day to matters that pertain to legislative business. During that time, also remember, the legislature was tense. Okay, the legislature was tense. So to take a recording where about the president how to say that's evidence of fire, I mean, I was truly disappointed today. The good thing is they didn't take as many bathroom breaks, but the evidence is just as weak.
Okay, the evidence is just as weak. Let's hear from you, Jacob, on what you just listened to. What's your take on what Fonati has just said?
Yes. Okay. So so I think I listened to Kofa. I listened to the former speaker. Again, this case is already before a court, and it's clear that former speaker Kofa, Councillor Kofa, will speak to the media and will share his perspective and his views on the validity or the quality of the evidence that's used. I mean, this guy is a lawyer, and the courtroom is his terrain, so he will always share an opinion. And of course, we are in a democracy. He has his right to freedom of speech and to give his perspective on the issue. Now, as an observer, as a citizen, looking at the case and how the case is proceeding, I am interested in seeing how the case ends out, and also the cross-examination and all of the activity associated with the provision of evidence on the floor. Now, at the end of the day, the ruling of the court, or if it is a jury trial, the outcome of the case, at that point, we can have commentators and analysts talking about, of course, whether the case was free, fair, and transparent, and whether justice was done for all sides or so. So at this point in time, I just find it extremely difficult, to pass a clear, conclusive judgment on whether this case, is not going the right way, or whether justice not being done. I don't have any evidence at this point in time to arrive at any conclusion and say, oh, this case is not procedural, it's not transparent, I think that would be slightly irresponsible on my part to arrive at that conclusion. I want to see how this matter progresses. I want to see how, it all ends up. I don't have any reason now. One critical point that also is a hallmark of a process like this has to do with respect for Councillor Kofa and everyone involved, respect for their right to presumption of innocence, right? And I think the court, so far, and that's the process that's the legal process that is currently going on. No one has said, the court have not said, because we've not reached an era where the judge or the jury will say guilty or no guilty. So this is just the process of going into the matter, adducing evidence. I don't want to be fast to say the evidence the prosecutor is availing is fraudulent or it cannot stand the weight of scrutiny. We will begin to see that as the cross-examination goes on. But from my perspective, I think we're requiring all parties involved to respect the process as it unfolds.
Okay, Mambe, you listened to Fonanti just a few minutes ago. He said so far evidence that they adduced are all, those pieces of evidence are all weak. I mean, they don't have the strength. In fact, he indicated that prosecutors cannot explain as to how police then manning the building and this has happened. And so let's hear from you.
I've heard that argument many times, and every time I hear it, I laugh, right? So Fonanti says because the police was there, so the police will be a co-conspirator. That's not true. There are countless of cases where facilities were under the control of security and were infiltrated by criminals without the security being in the know. Several times. I will give you one joking example. President Weah. President Weah's house, his yard, was invaded by a crazy man. Some check online, you find the story. Front page.
Yeah, we heard that. We heard
that. The president is the most protected individual in the country. EPS, SSU, and everybody there. But a crazy man invaded and entered the premises where he shouldn't have been. Does it suggest that the president's security colluded with the crazy man to get to where he shouldn't have been? No. It was just security weakness that he managed to infiltrate. Several times. Countless. I just gave that example. But there are many times where places under security protection are infiltrated by criminals. But that's the reason why, in fact, they call them criminals. Because they are able to, they have the ability to bypass procedures, guidelines, and break through security. That's why they call them criminals.
Can I make a quick point here, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think maybe we have to be. We have to be a little bit careful also, to be very dismissive of the possibility that this could potentially also be the case, because that's the point. We have to be careful, because even if the possibility of this happening was like 5%, but it is still within the margin of possibility. So
I agree.
I think when the speaker says, or the former speaker says, the police may have potentially, or the police was, probably he said directly was, we can understand. But if we speak, if we take a step back, in the case, criminal matter, like any case of this nature, even in science or any investigation, we have to be careful not to rule out, the possibility that something of this nature may have potentially happened. Because if we say conclusively that this is not possible, then we are as guilty as saying that we're playing in the same line, like if the defendant would say this was not possible. You understand what I'm trying to say? So I think, again, we have to be very careful, because this could well be possible that the police, I'm not saying it happened, but I'm saying it is within the margin of possibility.
I agree with you, Jacob. The point I was saying is to dismiss.
One minute after Mamwe.
Yeah, the point I was
Yes, go
saying
ahead.
was the argument that because police was there, police colluded. I'm saying there are multiple times where security can be places and the security can be compromised without the knowledge of the police. And I gave the example of the case with George Weah, right? So I'm not saying it is not possible. I'm saying do not conclude like the former speaker concluded that because police were there, so police will be included as co-conspirators. It doesn't hold.
Okay.
Look,
Yes.
so,
Yes,
so
Sunday.
let me provide a little bit of information here. Look, Mame, I beg to differ with you. I differ with you because just you indicated that it is likely that a criminal could have come, invade a place while officers were there, and commit a crime. Absolutely. Yeah, right on that. It is also possible, and studies have shown where individuals involved with law enforcement colluded with criminals in the commission of crimes. There are multiplicity of reports out there. There are multiplicity of reports. So for you to conclusively say that, well, this is not doable, like Jacob said, I don't think we should make such a statement, because if we do, that undermines the probe. He made a statement that, hey, the police officers were there. They should also form part of the investigation. Let's give the investigators the opportunity to probe the matter. But for us to argue that it is not possible, Mommy would be in the wrong. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Yes. So I can come to Reverend Dr. Chris. Go ahead quickly, George.
The fact is, both Amlai and Miami and Jacob, the both of them saying the same thing. They agreed with one another that this could happen, that could happen. So there is no disagreement over there. But what is most important here is we are beyond investigation. We are at a level of trial. Okay? The police, the broad aspects, they work. Had they seen elements of links to the security officers that were there, I believe that the officers were going to be indicted. The officers on ground, they were protecting the physical ground. They never had the keys to the buildings. They never, people used to go in and out. Employees used to go in and out. They never, the place was not totally condoned where nobody was, disallowed from going in and out. The place was there where workers went in and out. Okay, so anything could happen down there. Had the place been totally condoned where nobody go in there, probably the investigators look at it and say, look, probably based on their own techniques, investigative techniques or whatsoever, there is no need to indict any of the officers.
Okay.
So,
Reverend Dr. Chris, you listen to Fornati when he walked out of the court today and made those statements.
Thank you very much. I think Honorable Kofa, a lawmaker and a legal person, a lawyer by profession, and an intelligent lawyer also. He knows the law. He understands the law. And what we are looking at as the faith community and the Liberian people is to see that the law is adjudicated in the right manner. We don't want people's rights to be denied. We want the process to be followed. As Kennedy said, investigation is over. We are on a trial period. And let the judges there, they are not weak-minded people. The accused will say anything the person feels like saying. They try to defend themselves. Even the prosecutor also want to say things in their own favor. The judge is there. The jurors, this is a juror case also. The jurors will be listening. They will be following. Those are educated people. So any witness or any evidence that is produced in the court, and if those evidence are not valid, I believe in the wisdom of the judge. And I trust there are some good judges here who are moved politically and they do this thing legally. And so that's why we look at taking the law to be the law is blind, not looking at you because of your position, of your alliance or relationship, but God's speed or spade. So we think that the process should be followed, and we have our observers there every day. We have been following the case. When they were at the police headquarters, we were around. We went to the court when the bond were filed. We went to the central prison. We were there when they were released. We even went there and met with the superintendent. We went to the preliminary case when they started. And then we were there even today. So we've been following the case, and we want to follow this case until it is concluded. Because in our first statement, we stated to the government, we want this to be investigated. We want the truth to come out. And if the government has done its first investigation and it requires a trial and people have been accused, then let those people exonerate themselves in the court of competent jurisdiction.
Now, Mambo, let me ask you quickly, and then we can talk about this. There's this argument, Mambo Jala, Reverend Dr. To, and the two panelists. There's this argument that the Fornanti, the former House Speaker Fornanti Kofa, and his team, they've started. They are off to a rocket start. No defense strategy. All we hear often, especially when they speak, is just anti-government rhetoric. There's this argument. Mambo, what do you say? Do you see any defense strategy there?
Technically, I'm not a defense or a prosecutor, so I wouldn't know the best strategy to use as a defense counsel. So I wouldn't be able to critique their defense strategy. However, I agree that they tend to, maybe it's part of their defense strategy. Maybe you've worked before for other lawyers in other cases. Probably that could be part of their defense strategy. Like I said, I'm not a defense counsel. I don't know what strategy is, so I wouldn't be able to critique their strategy. However, I know that what they try to do is to dismiss, like every other lawyer would do, but they're doing it more in the public. They try to dismiss all the charges. They try to undermine all the evidence. For example, this thing about the police were there, so the police should be co-conspirator. There were other people who were there that the police identified, investigated, and clear off. Safoko. What the other guy named from
Marvin Cole.
Marvin Cole. And list of other people. The police investigation initially were pointing in their direction. But based on evidence they gather, as per what the police is saying, no, these people are not part of it. So it is possible that yes, the police were there, but based on investigation, they realized that the police were not part of it. Security was compromised, or security was, compromised by external factors. So to your question, I wouldn't critique their strategy, but I know based on everything we've been hearing all on the radio, oh, it is AR video. Oh, it is AR audio. Oh, police supposed to be arrested. Oh, the evidence not strong. We'll dismiss it. But every day they say it is AI, we challenge them. Like for me personally, I say if you claim that AI can produce simple Liberian English, like you monitor Fornanti Kofa and Abu Kamara speaking, if AI can produce that and a radio station playing in the background, if AI can produce that, produce one AI voice of Amula and another person in simple Liberian English, and the case closed. Nobody can do it because AI cannot do that.
It's not possible.
No, I've never seen it.
Let's be careful about saying what AI cannot do in this time.
I mean, I'm saying I have never seen AI produce Liberian English. I have seen voice over, right? Like the TikTok the children can do. So now somebody playing the music is seeing their mouth talking, but they're not a real person talking. That's different.
Yeah. But AI is doing Nigerian pidgin, and you heard that?
Come again.
Technology is moving so fast. But I think, I don't know. I need to stop there. I don't want to interrupt you. Maybe my time will come to speak.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. No. So okay, in terms of the tactics of the defense or their tactical approach to the case, of course, I've been following this matter. This is a matter of a great deal of importance to every one of us. Again, let me be very clear from the beginning to disclaim here that I am not a legal attorney. Law is not my thing. I am not a lawyer. So I have great deal of limitation here, and I think that's the reason why I try so much to tiptoe around the issue a lot, because I don't want to play with fire here, legal sense, because that's not my forte, that's not my area. But what I can say from a layman perspective is that, again, the police director or the IG made a point about that, about the political nature of this case. So we should be very much used to this, that this case is going to be both trial in the court of competent jurisdiction as this is happening, but there's also going to be trial in the court of public opinion. So we very much have to get used to that. And for some of us who are, citizens interested in these matters, we have to be very careful and know the difference between the two. It's going to be a case tried before the judge. The judge is not a politician. As far as we know, whoever the judge is, the jurors are going to be there. They're going to be looking into the facts and the circumstances around the matter and trying to form an impartial conclusion in this matter or judgment on this matter. So it's important to know the difference between the two. So again, I'm very much sure that the defense, we're coming to the public. We try to rally public opinion because of the political aspect of this case. And it's also clear here, to be very honest, also that we see, elements, from the part of the Unity Party in the government also playing in the political field also in terms of trying the very difficult best to make the public understand that these people who have been, brought before court could highly likely, or in fact, may have carried out the act of arson. So it is a political football. We see that, and the legal case is also on, and try to understand that all these things will play out. So that's yes.
Okay, gentlemen, let's go into what has been trending today. I'm sure many of us may have read it, on social media, or in the papers, or wherever, or heard on the radio. And I'll try to upload, let me read, and then we can all talk about that. In a surprising turn, during court proceedings on the Capitol building arson case today, prosecutors acknowledged that their primary evidence against former House Speaker J. Fernandes Kofa and other defendants are based solely on social media content. Legal observers raised concerns as to the prosecution's failure to disclose or clarify the origin of the online material presented. The revelation has drawn criticism from legal experts and supporters of the accused, who argued that relying on unverified social media posts without establishing that credibility or source undermines the integrity of the case. Undermines the integrity of the case. Let's stop it at that. But I'm sure Mambe and Jacob and my two panelists, including Reverend Dr. Toole, I'm sure all saw what they're training today, that the prosecution has said that evidence that they have, primarily from social media. But let's hear from you, Mambe, and then we'll go to Jacob. We'll go to Moses quickly. Mambe.
I think the evidence really doesn't matter where it comes from. Once
it doesn't matter?
Yeah, once it is admissible in court, once the judge and the court records can hold the evidence, it doesn't matter where it comes from. If the court cannot hold the evidence, if the court cannot accept the evidence, then that's a whole different issue. So my point is, even
if the source of the online is not identified, it doesn't matter still.
If the court accepts an evidence and say it is admissible, we can use it to determine guilty or not guilty. It doesn't matter where it comes from. That's my point.
Moses, do you hold that view? You listening to Ambula, you say, well, it doesn't matter whether from social media, the fact that the court admits it, or say it's admissible, we can use it. It doesn't matter. You use finger along with him.
Well, I will beg to differ, Mohammed. The essence of a probe is to get to the core of the problem. And everything we see on social media, these are things that are just thrown there by people. That's why the police has invested so much money into this probe. They brought people from the United States, and the people did their own probe. So for I don't know how credible this story is, but if the prosecutors are telling us that their evidence is based on what is in social media or what is on social media, then it defeats the purpose of the thousands of dollars that the police has used, to gather data. Not everything in the public domain is true. So I disagree with that.
Let me say something, Sabo.
Yeah, quickly.
You listen to the police director. Maybe you should play what the police director said, how he emphasized the strength of his evidence. The second part I'm saying is, if the judge identifies evidence and says this evidence is admissible, we can use it to determine guilt or innocence, then the conversation of where it comes from becomes mute. The conversation of where the evidence is coming from becomes important if the judge is saying, I cannot use it. That's what I'm saying. So let's wait and see whether the judge will admit the evidence in court. If the judge says the evidence cannot be admissible, that's a different story. If the evidence is admissible, then it means the judge is willing to look at that evidence and determine whether it can be used for guilt or innocence. And in that case, it wouldn't matter whether it comes from John or it comes from Paul.
So
what matter is whether it can determine guilt or innocence.
Quickly, if I could just say something, my man. Look, the prosecutors, I don't know how credible this story is, but if the prosecutors are going ahead and making all these statements, that draws, the integrity of the prosecution team. It is not wrong. I said that once they have the evidence, regardless of where it emanated from. But if you are the prosecutor, you should be telling journalists that we have the evidence. We have the evidence. We have the facts to prosecute this case. But if you are telling us that everything that you have is based on what is on social media, that's a problem. Then why did you take in the investigators? Why did you deploy people at the police? At the Capitol building? Why have you spent all this time asking questions when you took Kofa, the one-on-one interview? That's not on social media. That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, but again, I think quickly, Sabo. I don't know where you read the story from, but I think the story is a little bit problematic because. But that story saying or the report saying that I think I heard you saying all of the evidence that they are using comes from social media. I don't think that's quite correct because I know that there are, even Councilor Kofa talked about it, there are audio recordings. I think about a particular discussion happening between and amongst those who've been indicted, and of course there are police investigations. So I think that news article has to be taken with a grain of salt, to be honest, because I'm sure there are other versions of evidence that will be presented in court. I don't know.
The police RG even talk about geospatial analysis and geospatial data. That's not from social media, right? That's another form of evidence.
So, but Mohammed, if I could come in, you have just sided with what I said, that it is wrong for people who are prosecuting a case. I don't know how credible this story is, but if it actually emanated from the prosecutors, then they themselves are undermining the probe. Because if the director of police is saying that, hey, we have more evidence that are not in the public domain, that are not on social media, and to have a prosecuting team saying that, hey, everything we have is based on what is on social media, that would be the wrong way to go. There's so much evidence that these people have that is not on social media.
Okay. Yes, George.
Yeah, I think I agree with Jacob. That story does not meet the elements of journalism.
Okay.
I don't know, as a journalist myself, I don't know where they got that story from, because I haven't heard the prosecution spoke.
Okay.
I haven't heard them say anything. They've been quiet in court, except in court where they talk, but come outside to face the price the way former Speaker Kofa is doing. I haven't seen that on any social media or any news. I haven't heard that. So what I'm observing is that it's like somebody wants to, you and someone fighting, and he seems very strong, like the David and the Goliath style. You want to give one punch. And I think what Speaker Kofa is doing is try to do what we call preemptive strike.
Okay.
He's trying to do that, always come to speak to the people, and touching on how weak the prosecution with evidence is, in order to draw the public attention to him, to gain public sympathy. But really, until we can see fully what the police director talk about in terms of the strength and quality of his evidence that he has, well, or the prosecution comes publicly to speak to what they have and what they've presented, well, all of those stories I'm not going to.
Okay, so before we came on air, we managed to get in contact with the chief of the prosecution team. That's the Solicitor General. We asked him as to the clarity of that whole story. He said, well, we're going to speak to that, but we have major issues documents before us that we have to exhaust before the night goes. So that has taken our concentration, but we'll come to that. So we're hoping that the prosecution can really come up with the strong evidence that the police made reference to, so as to win this matter. But let's hear from you. Yes, Moses.
Yes, so quickly. I just wanted to disagree with Kennedy quickly. I heard you say that the story, just from hearing from you, he says the story lacks all elements of news. As a journalist, Kennedy, I beg to differ with you. Our prominence is an element of news. So if you have a Kofa name in there, you have lawmakers who have been prosecuted. That's a significant element of news. Proximity. It is happening in the country. Those people are there. They are our people. That's another element of news. Tardiness. What is happening is things of the day. So for you to say the story lacks the elements of news, I beg to differ with you on that.
Probably you're not.
Kennedy. So I know
this was published on Metro Media.
You see, so
quickly. Let me just finish my brother. I know we are not running, a workshop for journalists yet, but I just want you to say that what we can debate here is that how credible is this story? But we cannot say the story lacks all elements of news. That's what I disagree with.
So when the story is not credible, are you there? I see him still talking, right?
No, he's on. Yeah, he's listening.
When the story is not credible, even though it has some elements, and the story makes all the facts in it, it's not credible. It's not something to be believed. you've seen people that are even quoting the rightful sources, and you say it is a story. Well, of course, we can tell you, say no. In journalism, you're not just going to say, oh, former president this or president this. What all the facts are, you don't put it in and you say that story. It's not a story, Mr. Sandy. We passed that.
Kennedy.
So let's face.
We can.
Let us face the reality. Let us face it. That's speculation. That is speculation. All right.
So
please accept that. Let's move.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Moses. So we can go to. We can go to Angola.
No, quickly. The three of us are journalists. Sobot, Kennedy, myself, and we're not running a workshop yet for news writing. I'm telling you, when there is an element of prominence, when there's timeliness, when there's proximity, these are significant elements. For you to make a broad statement that for the fact that the story is questionable, it lacks all elements. That's a direct quote. You said the story lacks all elements. And I'm saying you are in the wrong journalistically. You are in the wrong. There are significant elements there.
Okay, let me go to Angola. Yes.
Yeah, okay. I just want to say that there are times also that people insinuate, they make a lot of statements, and there are things that also go in the press that they may not be true.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. There is the article all around now. They have it all on social media. They have the Council of Judges or emblem, and they have my number, everything connected, and they say we have we are giving grants out, and people who want to apply can apply. They can contact XYZ, and that's a fake news.
Okay.
And so people are calling us, and we are giving that. And this is something that is coming on the social media and coming from. There are some also you may refer to as credible institutions that are posting it. Also, we are even making reference to find out. That also issued, or even that came out and said that, the council, expelled, its president and other things like that. And those, it came from some, some journalists, some news outlet that you may feel that is so credible. And so people call us even from our end. So what we are looking at is that as these things come out and they say the prosecutors say, we got to be able to make sure, because we got to be careful in terms of what is obtained here. We want to make sure that the truth come out.
Now, yes, I got your point. But Moses, George Kennedy, and Jala, do you think it's advisable in this sort of case that is ongoing with the high-profile individuals and having political nature, like the IG said? Do you think it's advisable for the prosecutor to have a spokesperson attached to that team that will be able to clearly communicate if there's any issue of concerns, and if there's any issue that needs clarity? Do you think, because we see that in foreign countries? I mean, you found that major case of this nature, prosecution has a spokesperson that's on top of the issue. Do you think that's necessary to avoid and to track sort of the misrepresentation and misinformation as well in the public? Jara.
Yes, I agree. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jara.
Yes. I think the partner public deserve information on this matter. However, I'm a little bit skeptical with turning this case into a public debate or adjudicating this case publicly. I think this matter has to be settled legalistically and before a full trial before the judge. That's why. Otherwise, then the defense teams and the prosecutor will have to come on nighttime heat to go into the case. I don't think that's what we want.
Let's take for instance, Jala. Let's take for instance the Charles Taylor trial. We all were in were in the country, and understand some journalists were trained. In fact, one of our colleagues who is dead now, he was trained and sent to the courts, and he was reported from that court religiously. So, what is wrong if the prosecution will have a spokesperson that will be able to clarify major issues, maybe that journalists may not understand, and clarify those issues to them.
So in that case, the media now have to send their legal correspondence to the court to cover the case and to give us, as lay men and women, who are not men and women of the law, an understanding and interpretation of what is going on.
But it's possible also, and Moses, I want you to come in. It's possible also that those institutions, media institutions, may have their representatives in court, but they may not understand some of the legal jargons, and they may not understand some of the outcomes and some of the sections or positions of prosecution or defense team. And at the end of the day, they want to rely on
lawyers, right?
But you don't find all of the institutions having journalists who are loyal assigned at the court.
I mean, Moses.
Okay, so what I would say, you are absolutely right. In a case like this, it is very, very necessary to have a spokesman for the prosecution at every phase, because this is, like the director of police said, this is a very high-profile case. Very high-profile case. So there's a need for consistent updates. You want to have a spokesman who has a legal background as well, that will consistently tell reporters, this is the face, this is what we have presented, and that is the argument. You see, the role of the defense is to dispute, is to challenge whatever evidence that has been presented. And that's why you see deconstruct, and that's why you see Kofa and his people continuously speaking to the media, telling that they are here. The people have nothing against us. They are wasting our time. I don't believe that. The guy ran in the bathroom 7 times. So you need someone from the prosecution that will continuously provide updates for the media. If you're just going to sit by and you have the defendant consistently speaking to the media, that can also shift public opinion. It's very important. It's very important. So, because
let's take for instance, this is the Solicitor General who I just spoke with. Yes, okay. Yes, go ahead, Jala.
I don't think we want this case to be settled within the perimeters of public opinion, right? The public opinion, the public debate will continue. We're doing some of that here right now. It can continue in the democratic, free space. But I think this matter has to be settled with evidence in front of, competent court of jurisdiction, looking at the facts and circumstances around the case and the evidence adduced. Now, I agree, the prosecutor can try to provide some update, right, as the case goes. But we will see many different trials, for example, in the case of the United States, right? I mean, you don't see the prosecutor coming every day before the camera and trying to give more and more information. I mean, with the exception of cases like George Floyd and all these hard-button civil rights, case and all of that. Yeah, you see some of that. The lawyer come, Ashat, and all these people come, civil rights people. Sometimes the lawyers come and do that. But in the case of a criminal trial like this, I think it's highly unlikely to see that the prosecutor will come every day before the camera and provide update on the quality of the evidence and all of that. I think that's where the media comes in, having the capacity of some of the journalists who are lawyers and try to flesh out some of the detail of the case, for people from an independent perspective. So, yeah.
Yes, let's get your take.
I think I will agree on regular update.
Okay.
It's not like every day to go to court you can give update. No, but whenever there is a major occurrence, like for example in a court where you present the evidence, where you made some gains, even the other side, You try to weigh what's going on. Once in a while, the prosecution should be able to speak to the public, because what is going on here, as Mr. Sandy said, is that the defense is trying to buy the public sympathy. So, Jacob, we agree 100% on what you say, even though later you agree with Mr. Sandy, is that the defense also should not talk. let the case here remain a court, what the judge will say, or what the jurors will say. I mean, the jury will say be the final.
And which is not possible.
Which is not possible. So as the defense speaks to the press every day, the prosecution should come at least once in a while to brief the public on the status of the case. There's some update. Because, Jacob, probably you're not aware that most of the journalists assigned the code, they're not lawyers. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Even though they are good, but they're not lawyers. So it's they need to talk to the media.
Just for instance, I mean, they tell us Friday. I mean, we saw that the defense had its own spokesperson.
Yeah.
Because when you have a case involving high-profile people, there are lots of public interest.
Yes.
And so there's a need to for the defense. Like for instance, before we came on air, I called the Solicitor General to ask him about this story, and he said, "Well, I got a couple of issues, documents that I need to exhaust, or I need to look into, and because if he had a spokesperson, assigned for that purpose, you don't have to bother yourself with speaking to the media. You got that spokesperson, but gentlemen, let's move forward. Given what had happened with the arrests, the first police invite, and then arrest and subsequent detention of Fonante Kofa, former speaker, and others, granted that they went to court now, and maybe the case ended, and either party, either the Fonante or the government, or other defense or prosecution won the case. But they are opportune to go back to maybe to work, go back to the legislative, to do the legislative function. Gentlemen, do we see harmony in the House of Representatives? Do we see the issue of peace, the issue of collaboration, the issue of camaraderie? Do we see that still existing, especially what had happened taking those gentlemen to court? Let's look at what may likely happen after the whole proceedings in the chambers relative to the relationship amongst lawmakers. Let's begin with you, Ravi.
Oh, thank you very much, and that's where we come in terms of making sure that the peace is sustained. Reconciliation is key, and to be able to have healing, truth-telling is very important.
Okay.
And so, as I stated, if the case is finally adjudicated today, and the truth is revealed in terms of there is the Fonante group, they are not guilty,
and they went back to
session. So if they are not guilty, they went back to session, and they are lied upon and other things like that, the truth has been said. And I think that's where also the whole issue about the process of reconciliation has to continue. So
who leads that process of reconciliation?
Okay, we have already said to the legislature, and that's where from the faith communities we have said that we avail ourselves for the whole process.
But you are an outsider. You are an outsider.
Yeah. So the whole issue now is even the present speaker stated that one of the meeting in the House when we engage with them, Amikun, is the issue of reconciliation at the level of the House. I think what is happening with the issue at the national legislature now with this legal process is because citizens paying money, has been destroyed by people we don't know, but there is an accused. And so if the accused are acquitted tomorrow, then the truth is established. Then we have to know who did that.
Okay. Moses, let me hear from you, Jacob. What we've seen now is that a toxic relationship has been created. The fact that Fonanti and his colleagues, all from the previously minority bloc, were thrown behind bars, and they went to court. The process is adjudicated, and they are found not guilty. They went back to session. Do you see any sort of harmony existing amongst the lawmakers, especially those from minority and those from majority? Do you see anything of that nature obtaining there?
Well, I mean, why not? I think, I mean, when you go to the legislature or you come into public leadership, the overarching goal of coming there is to serve the public. And I think that's the difference between great leaders and not so great leaders. The huge difference is your ability to transcend personal differences or personal disagreement, to rise above that for the common collective interest of the society. So if these people who are at the legislature are truly great leaders who want to transform our country, they have to pass this very important test of rising above and beyond their individual differences here and there.
But mind you now, Jara, the divide has been created before even they went to jail. The divide has been created. They had this minority and the majority, and then it has further deepened with the incarceration of Kofa and others. So do you think that divide will be healed? Do you think that won't create will be healed, especially with what's happening now?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So there will be divisions, for example, right? You know, different parties, different organizations, different groups. Nothing wrong with those divisions in their own sense. The only thing is that we don't, extend that division to create animosity, or also to say we're not able to rise above those different divisions. Now, I'll always give a typical example of South Africa. Nelson Mandela, he became leader of the movement in South Africa. I mean, when he left prison, in 1990, in the 90s, he brought the country together. Even those who sent him to jail for over 2 decades, he extended a hand of friendship and said, "Can I build a rainbow nation?" and rose above his own individual differences among the different parties in South Africa. So, and that was making a great leader. So I'm just saying that unless our leaders are not great leaders, if they are great leaders, they will rise above those things and those petty divisions, and then put the collective interest of the country ahead, because that's very much more important. We have issue of job, we need to build a country, we need to prosper our society. That has to be the defining feature of all politicians who want to serve our country. And if they are great leaders, like I said, they will rise above their differences for the collective interest of our country.
Okay, Moses, let's hear from you.
Look, Sobot, the House is already divided. In the wake of what transpired that led to Coon's election, the role of the executive in the election of Coon to the speakership, you and I can agree that we have a divided House of Representatives. And guess what? What this current matter has caused, it has further deepened the resentment, the hurt, the anger in the House of Representatives. You have this current situation while others are being prosecuted for reportedly engaging into criminal activities, breaking the laws of the country. You have members of the very House of Representatives who refer to themselves then as what? The quote-unquote majority black. They just passed a resolution saying that everything that they did that did not conform to the laws of the country, all of the actions should be declared what? Legal. For example, Richard Coon received salaries for 7 months as speaker when he was never speaker. No God's king. They dissolved all committees created by Fonanti Kofa when they had no legal authority of doing that. That's what the Supreme Court ruled against them. But these people have resolved to say, hey, everything that we did are now considered legal. And guess what? You are prosecuting people that were considered what? The enemies. People that went against them. So you have a divided legislature with particular
and you think that that divide will continue to affect the operation of the House of Representatives?
Of course, this is going to further exacerbate the situation because there are people, whether you like it or not, who are what? Loyal to Kofa, who are loyal to Priscilla, who are loyal to what is Guardian, and the other lawmakers. There are people who are loyal to them. Those people.
Okay. Let's hold it there. Let's hold it there, George, because we'll soon open the lines. Yes, George.
Thank you. The House has always been divided.
Okay.
As a former legislative reporter, I was present when Honorable Snow, then Speaker Snow, was removed, and what we saw there was even brutal. Even though there were no facilities that got burned, but the inner fighting there was so brutal that people thought people would not have even spoken to one another after that. But when Honorable Tyler won, when he took over, he brought all Honorable Snow people back. They worked together, gave them some of them positions and stuff, reconciled them. All right? The same thing came to Honorable Tyler. He was very powerful, and to even remove him, it took the 7 months, almost 7-8 months. The fight was tough. He lost his seat to Honorable Imada Nukwe. Nukwe reconciled and brought all of the House work together. So what I'm seeing here is that to reconcile the House, it solely, like 85%, left with the current leadership. The role they will play in working along with, in bringing those from the Kofa side into the leadership, that will bring reconciliation. If they want to take everything for themselves, the division will remain. If they want to open up to the Kofa group, we got lucrative committees. You need to share those committees to make sure that other people from the other side of the aisle will be able to work with you. That's the mistake Kofa made when he became speaker. He won by 31 votes, and he took all the committees and gave it to his people. We knew that that would have been a fight because he didn't win with overwhelming votes. So that fight came, and he's out. So the only thing this Honorable Kofa, how to call him, Kun got to do, is to make sure that to bring those guys back to some lucrative committees and work with them to ease down the tension. I think it's important to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jacob, do you string along with him quickly?
Did I what?
In time, yeah. Do you string along? Do you agree with him? You said that's the only way that the division in the House can be addressed by if the current speaker will agree to bring on board to work along with those who were loyal to Nanti Kofa.
Well, I mean, I think anything that has to be done practically to resolve the matter can be done and should be done to resolve the situation. But I just think that, again, for me, maybe my views on things like that can be a little bit different. For me, I think when we say we have good leaders, we have great leaders, the test of a great leader is to be able to rise above your ego, is to rise above your personal anchor-attachment or your personal thing. These things will happen. Otherwise, we'll not have great leaders, and we'll not have any kind of leader of like leaders. There's a difference between what a great leader is. And I think these things will happen, but we want our leader to be able to step beyond this and be able to put the common interest, the collective interest of the country on the front agenda or on the table for the progress and development of our country. Because all legislature, which one of the legislature in the world, there are not camps and different groups. Even Congress, there are different groups here and there. But when it comes to America's collective interest, everybody will subjugate the individual party interest for the common interest of the United States of America. So we need that kind of energy here. That's my point I was making.
Yeah, so what do you mean just
Yes, quickly, so I can open the lines. The phone's
yeah.
lines are blinking already.
Okay. And I think as a faith community, that's where we also will come in to encourage the leadership, present leadership of the House of Representatives to engage that process of national reconciliation within the House, making sure that they have everyone participating into the process. They have said that to us when we went to Farmington to start that process with them, that they're going to be inclusive. And so we pray that they carry on an inclusive initiative, even if the others are, whether they are guilty or not guilty, that process of reconciliation, healing must take place.
Okay. 0778-460-793. That's the number to call. Again, 0778-460-793. That's the number to call, and you are live on the Nighttime Heat tonight. Amen. Again, 0778-460-793. Let's take the first caller. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
This is Pastor David. You know, look, the worst that happens to human being is for you to have a star and pretend not to have a star. The first thing, let me remind some of your guests. Michael Thomas number 4 was here on the bishop. Say me at the legislature. Say when I didn't cook, maybe some of them don't know. Go far. When he became speaker, he signed a budget that the government needed to remember. But I said, if that money is not signed, the government will laugh. Copa signed and they put that budget. Again, Copa traveled with the president. He started not only that, the war on office was quickly signed under the leadership of the speaker, Copa. Look, somebody said, for you to be a good leader is to let everything go and for your personal activity. That I agree. That's why I honor his leadership. Everything that the executive wanted in the interest of the country, they wanted to for years. Mr. Barker said they wanted a speaker. I don't know whether they got what they have been in Ladua. You didn't hear the current speaker say, I want a tradition because we're supposed to have a speaker coming from every day. You didn't hear him say that? Mommy, don't be honest. They go you're serving. How you're serving they go? How you're serving they go? You're clean, you're knowing that boy. You can't are so dishonest. It's just because of your stomach that you
okay, that's okay. That's okay. Let's take another call on the line quickly. Good evening. Okay, let's take this call on the line quickly. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Saba. I'm Koti, David Koti.
Let's hear from you.
Role in getting Speaker Cohen to power. You know, when I hear my good friend Pascal Davis talking about Sai, and he got to be frank enough to say who really got Sai here. And the next thing is that is it really fair or proper for the former speaker to always come and brief the press about the details of what is happening at the court when the matter is in court? Now, let me just say this quickly before I close. If I don't do so, I won't be able to sleep on your first topic. When someone is alive and is in need, and you cannot help them when you have the ability to do so, anything you do after they are dead is nothing but a flakaje, fiamomo, or flow show for nothing.
Okay.
So it's just complete deception. You can't be that wicked. I'm in need, and you have the power to help me. You don't help me. But after I'm dead, then you bring a shipload of rice and cows. It's just useless. Total flakaje.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. Let's get another call on the line quickly. Good evening. Good evening. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Hello.
Yeah.
Let's hear from you.
Yeah, I'm Mohammed from calling from New Jersey.
Okay, Mohammed. Let's hear from you quickly.
Yeah. So let me just make my point. And today, especially today, today appearance. We hear the accused lawyer and the accused witness and make a lot of explanations, especially pertaining to link of Jackson Sibo and aiding and abetting the transfer or the removal of one of the
suspect involving the incident of the House of Representatives, the fire incident. So I think it's about time the issue about you guys discussing about the public opinion. I think this is not an issue about public opinion. I know it's very important, but at some level, when matter is in court, it is important you follow the proceeding in court and understand the intricacies of the case. Instead of every time, I think a public opinion will give right or give credence of you winning or losing case.
Okay. You made your point already. 0778-460-793. Let's take this call on the line quickly. Good evening.
Hey, good evening, Sobol. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Let's hear from you quickly.
Hey, Jara, this is Tobias. What's up? Look, two things I need to talk about. I'm not sure why Councilor Kufa is litigating this case in the public. They tell me not a story.
But that could be part of the main defense strategy.
Oh, that is by sympathy. He's a lawyer. He should know better. When the case is in court, we refrain from discussing the case. But again, the law, the prosecutor will come to that. But you talk about he's misrepresented the police director.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. If the case is pure political, where does the account take place? They stop in the political theater. It's what the ads you were talking about. Well, Fonati is a politician. Well, Desisibo is a politician. So why is he? I don't understand. Look, for me, what we can do as a Liberian, and the Reverend said it, let the law take its course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Many thanks. Thank you very much for making your points here. Again, 0778-460-793. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Albert Kemuga. Thank you people for the show.
Okay.
Brother Soba, I've been monitoring your show since you are with Star Radio. Thank you very much for the show.
Okay.
The brother just said, Kofa is talking too much. My grandmother from the southeast, she said, anytime things are missing in the house, the child you might be careful with that child. The child crying for police, say, the child is crying, the child knows what the child using way to buy sympathy. And I believe that what Kofa is doing. I thought, because the people who know law, they say, well, you should keep quiet and wait. But the other lawyer there, at the end of the political lawyer, we just talking too much.
Okay.
Why you just wait?
Okay.
And we know the case. Each other.
Okay, you made your point already.
I'm coming, sorry, please. I'm coming, please. Yeah, so how are you?
I'm okay. Go ahead quickly.
Yeah, I'm grateful for the topic on the discussion, but however, Mr. Kuti came in and tried to flag the issue that have to do with someone bringing rest. No, we don't expect for people that Kuti to come in with the kind of issues. You are trying to pick up old wound. And, it's a man like Kuti, every government that come to power, he want to bring it close and put it up and shine it close because the way the sun shines, the way you can get it deliberate. When you're out of the place, then you don't get time for you. It's a very wicked puppy, I see.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. Kuti will soon call back to clarify that he's not wicked. Maybe he'll soon call back. Good evening. Oh, it seems that call it's gone. Let's see this other call on the line quickly. Good evening.
Sabo.
Yes, sir.
Sabo, good evening. And let me say good evening to all of the panelists.
Okay.
My name is Theophilus T. to the second, and I'm in Monrovia. Sabo, very quickly, the issue is not about David Kuti, and so for any caller to come and then attacking David Kuti on his opinion is just wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But let's go to the meat of the discussion. So, like I think one of the callers said, that Fonati is talking too much, and he's supposed to be one of Liberia's legal luminaries in the country. So, for Fonati to know that there's a case in court And every time he went to the court, then he comes out and discuss the middle of the case. Is wrong for Finati to do. I do not even support, I think maybe your observation, Sabo, that the prosecutor should have a communication team that after the court, then they come out to inform. I don't think so. That would be big, because if that is the case, then I don't think the lawyers, the people who crafted that, whether it is a law or a policy that once there's a case in court, it should not be discussed until that case ends. But to conclude, it is good for people to be in solidarity with their leaders. But because you are in solidarity with your leaders, does not in a way means you should obstruct justice.
Okay.
We want to encourage all of our friends, whether you're supporting or you are against those who have been prosecuted, let us allow the rule of law to take its course.
Many thanks. 0778-460-793. Again, 0778-460-793. Let's take this caller quickly. Good evening.
David Coty.
Yeah, Dave, let's hear from you. Quickly.
I am proud to be a regime collaborator. There's nothing wrong with that. I will work with every government. But when you mess up, we split. Now, I don't do this because of hunger or because I'm looking for a job. I'm already 72. And like I told somebody the other day on OKFM, when they try to say the same thing, I say, look, I built a home cost over $500,000 before George Bush became president. I didn't join him because I was not supporting him because I want a job. And besides that, on July 1, 2017, I was honored as the highest taxpayer in Liberia by the LRA before George Bush became president. So if you call me a regime collaborator, that's your business. I think it's a good idea, but I don't do it because I'm looking for a job. I'm already a settled man.
Okay,
I work for government for 27. I'm already paid, balanced, and settled. Thank you very much.
Many thanks. Many thanks. Many thanks. Dave, you made your point already. Let's take other callers, please. Again, good evening.
So, who won't put that close in the ring? About is it so like get close to what is what is? Who's like to put it in it? When you dry when you put it in the real dry?
No, you won't.
Everybody want the sun, especially when you wash, when your clothes get dry. I think Mr. Scotty spoke very well. Someone I like to say this. The case is political, but the adjudication, the adjudication is legal. They are all political actors. They have been at the political ground. The resident of the legislature, that's a 100% political ground. The adjudication is legal, but the actors are political. So what people want to the church case, some of my church or Quran case? I ask you now, some of
no, go ahead.
It's a Bible case. The actors are politicians.
Okay,
they are all politicians, but the adjudication is legal.
Okay.
Thank you, Sabo.
Many thanks. 0778.
My name is Pony Irresistible.
I know. 0778-460-793. That's the number to call. Again, 0778-460-793. That's the number to call. And you are live right here on the Nighttime Heat. Again, 0778-460-793. Good evening.
Good evening, Sabo.
Yes, sir.
This is Alvin from Broadville. Alvin here from Broadville.
Let's hear from you.
You know, you bring to the table good discussion, and Liberians should appreciate it. I think we are non-lawyers, and we always think as non-lawyers.
Okay.
But in Liberia, non-lawyers pretend to be lawyers. And this is why we always have problems in understanding our own domestic issue. Everything we turn the negative way. Let us give the process a chance. Let the court decide who is wrong and who is right. This is the only way this country can go forward. Some people got plane ticket, they can fly anytime, but we don't have it. And so we love for the dreadful thing to be done so that we can live in peace in this country. So thank you very much.
Many thanks. 0778-460-793. That's the number to call. Again, 0778-460-793. We'll take 3 more calls and wrap it up quickly. Good evening.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my name is Reverend Melvin Kennedy. I'm from the Liberia Council of Churches.
Let's hear from you.
All right. Let me thank you, Sober, and to Reverend Dr. To our General Secretary and all the panelists. From the perspective of the Liberia Council of Churches, we are closely following and watching the trial, and we're excited that it has moved from investigation down to the court. So we are hopeful, and we are asking that this process be transparent, be a very free and fair, transparent trial, so that we all can say, yes, indeed, it was a transparent process. So we're looking forward to that. We called upon the government to ensure that the process is free, is fair, and transparent. And we trust in the government. We think this will be the case.
Okay, many thanks. Let's take another caller quickly. Good evening. Hello. Hello.
Good evening. Good evening, Sobo.
Let's hear from you.
Well, I thank you. Thank you all so much. This is Avin, we said.
Oh, Alvin, let's hear from you.
Well, I think you are doing a very good work. I'd like to say this to you, that there's nothing wrong for the Speaker Emeritus to come out and provide his due to the Liberian masses and to give his own perspective on how the case is proceeding. What we want to say here clearly is that in every given circumstances, in this time and age, I think information dissemination is prominent, is key to providing basic facts and evidence to the people, because if there is a gap in information dissemination, it leads to public doubts. So there's nothing wrong. Now, Funadi Ikwesi is not representing himself as councillor. He is being targeted as a politician. He's a politician, he's a lawmaker, and the circumstances, the environment dictates a political environment. It is a political theater. So you do not expect him to remain taciturn or to remain dogmatic on proceedings that come from the court. And for the information, if the prosecutor refuses to provide play-by-play description on the account of the allegations made leveled against Mr. Funadi Kofa, that's not his fault. It means that they do not have the empirical evidence to substantiate or to follow go about indicting Funadi Kofa. And you know very well that this case is not just a legal case. It is politically motivated with a lot of political sentiment. You saw what happened. Two parties went to a conflict, right? I mean, conflict is an opposition. Is a position to two opposing forces. Two parties going conflict. Only one party is being investigated. Now, Funadi is asking for evidence. Who burned the Capitol building? You cannot jump to Facebook where you have somebody who is not a credible witness, somebody who have already had a political side, and you take that stuff from Facebook and carry it to a serious mandate process, which jeopardizes everything, and it is not credible. It cannot be admissible in court. And so you saw the man who is now saying he's a speaker, beating the chest, talking about his original speaker. You saw how the executive was lopsided in master management of the chaos, and you saw how the guys were arbitrarily placed behind.
Okay, you made your points already. Let's take this caller on the line. This last caller so far. Good evening. Good evening. Hello. Good evening. Oh, it seems that let's take this caller. Let's take this line quickly. Good evening. Hello.
We trust the ability of the court, Sabo.
Okay.
The court is credible. We trust the ability of the court. Former Speaker Kofa just of late emerged victorious at the court. The court upheld him as the constitutional speaker in the side majority bloc. Former Speaker Kofa was victorious. He walked out of the court with flying colors. The court ruled in favor. So we trust the ability of our courts. We should get a good chance to do that right there.
Okay, you made your point. Let's take this last caller. Hello.
So, having this track, what was being said,
here. But look, having research to understand that if the speaker said he's a regime speaker, is it that he's not on the police, he's not on the liberty, he's on the liberty. And so when he says he is a regime speaker, he is telling you that look, I am from this political party, and this political party is in charge, is in control of the state. So also it does not mean anything that having research in the CDC, and they are look, the reality here is Francisco is a lawyer, though he's not representing himself, but he should not be speaking to the meat of the case that is ongoing currently. Now we say.
Okay. Let's see this last.
No. On the issue number 5. So I don't know what people want us to discuss.
No, I don't know. What Elijah Bono there? I think that was the voice that called earlier, and so I don't know what is Elijah Bono. So we're not taking additional calls anyway. It's okay now. We've paused on that. Let's try to go to our guests to get parting comments quickly. Their reactions or responses, and then we'll get parting comment. Then we leave. Reverend Dr. Crystal from the Council of Churches. Let's hear from you.
Thank you very much, Sabot, and thanks to all the caller for your various calls and the comments made, and even to my fellow colleagues, the panelists. And I think the beauty of our democracy in moving forward is to ensure that the due process of law is followed, and we see justice. Justice is being upheld in our country, where people now will see the law as the common denominator to keep our peace process moving forward. And so I would like to call on the prosecutor and the defense to allow the law to take its course. Let us look at the law as being blind. We call on even our citizens to watch the process, listen very carefully, as others stated, and we also acknowledge that this is a political. There are political figures that are involved.
Okay.
They are presently sitting lawmakers, but going through investigation. They have not left their seat yet. They are accused. And so they are trying to exonerate themselves. There's a prosecution going on. There's a trial going on. And let us all watch the process, make sure that no one is denied justice, and make sure that the truth come up, and let the Liberian people be able to judge ourselves moving forward. I listened before I leave. I listened to President Bouaka talking about when the fire incident took place. He talking about this must be investigated. We must find out what happened, and this country must be a country of the rule of law must be established, and the truth must be revealed. And those who did this to our country, the truth must come up, so for us to know those bad weeds that is within the field.
Okay.
And so we need to plug them out. If there are some bad weeds in the field, plug them out, and so that we can have the garden growing with good fruits.
Okay, many thanks. Jacob, let's hear from you.
Yeah, so again, thanks for the time. I think this is a very, 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 very crucial matter of state. Again, I think a few people tend to agree on my point about allowing a case to be a case that has to be it's a trial before a judge, before the court. And I think moving the case back into the public domain, where you have the prosecutor after every court session coming to explain the validity or the quality of their evidence in front of camera with the media report. That's something I think we need to be very careful with, because I don't think any of that is going to have any influence over the judge or the jury, because they're going to be looking at the facts and circumstances around the case. So basically, that's my perspective on the matter. But I think it's been a great show, and I'm always happy to come here and to share my perspective. Thank you very much.
Okay, George, let's hear from you before Moses.
Yes, thank you. I want to appreciate you and the callers, and Dr. To and Mr. Sandy, Mr. Jala, Mr. Miami. I want to tell you guys thank you, and the hardworking technicians here with you. I want to tell my brother Alvin that Speaker Boffa Chimba was a regime speaker for 6 years. I want to remind him about that, so let's forget about the regime stuff. And I also want to clarify it, because in Mr. Jala's closing statement, he said people come in, prosecution committee to discuss evidence. No, it's just about briefing about the case. The law is clear that when you discuss the evidence, you are prejudicing the case. All right. So we're not saying that you can't discuss the evidence in the public. We are saying at least once in a while you have a press briefing, inform the public about the status of the case, this and that. This not to come discuss detailed evidence issue. So with that clarification, I want to say thank you, and I hope that the public understand what we mean. We're not saying evidence discussion. So thank you so much.
Okay, Moses, let's hear from you quickly. We have 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, quickly, I just want to say thanks to all of the panelists, everyone who came, our guests, my brother Jacob, Dr. To, and my friend and brother Kennedy, Mame, and yourself. I want to say it was a very good discussion. The callers, I should also say thank you to them for calling in, letting us know their own personal disposition on these critical issues. And I would like to wrap up by saying that I 100% stand with Mr. Kennedy, that, hey, we need consistent updates. You're not telling us that, hey, this is our strategy. This is what we are targeting. But just tell the people this is where we are. This will be the next phase. Thank you.
Okay, so let's try to recognize some of our viewers tonight. Siliki Traore, he said he then viewed him, but he didn't say from where. Moulton B. Payano from Greenville, Sano County, my own county. Clon Destiny E.K. Seaton, he said he been watching from Central Monrovia. Thomas Double, Momolu from ELWA. Haruna Keita didn't say. Tier Groom Zero Reeves didn't say. Daniel Bassa Boy Johnson from the post of Buchanan. Ruben Karen didn't say. Moses Momolu didn't say what he's been watching from. We still continue. Isaiah Wallo Jr. didn't say. Ambassador Benjamin Sagacious Yuan didn't say what he's been watching from. Eric Harris, you didn't say what he's been watching from. Zolos Say from Johnsonville. Marty Fobua from Gardnersville. Ambassador Louis Page from Calcutta City. Stanley Krua didn't say. Caroline Yimpan didn't say. James Carpa didn't say what he's been watching from. Chris Manco Tier didn't say what he's been watching from as well. Emmanuel Mayo Wilson didn't say what he's been watching from. Love Chichi, I know she's been watching from somewhere, but she didn't say what she's been watching from. D. Zong Alfonso Bo Jr. didn't say. Zan Yanama Gabo didn't say. Pastor Samishan, he said he's been watching from home. Joseph F. S. Nangwe watching, didn't say. Morris Ja didn't say what he's been watching from. Mohammed J. Khan from Cotwell Community. Eric Scott didn't say. Joseph P. Woloba didn't say. Laluba Alpha, he said he's been watching from Johnsonville. Thanks to all of you who've been watching and been listening. On behalf of the producers here and our panelists, Saba George is my name. Have a pleasant and restful night. We'll be back on Friday.